If you are in the market for a new Samsung phone with a budget that can't go more than 25,000 pesos, the Galaxy A55 5G has been the go-to device this year. But with newer options constantly coming in, having second thoughts for different options is inevitable. A newcomer in town is the vanilla Honor 200 5G, and at pretty much the same price tag, how does it fare with the competition? What up guys, Miguel here from Yigatech, and in today's video, we have the recently released Honor 200 up against the Samsung Galaxy A55 in this comparison review. We'll be tackling each device's pros and cons to paint a clearer picture for those trying to decide between the two. So without further ado, let's dive in. Taking a good look at both phones' design, one thing to note is that they definitely exude simplicity. The Honor 200 goes a bit unconventional with its oval-shaped camera bump, whereas the Galaxy A55 of course follows in the footsteps of Samsung's current flagships. When holding both phones in hand, we can feel even more differences. The Honor 200 uses a premium polycarbonate material for its back panel, though it feels somewhat metallic to the touch. It curves into all sides of the frame, giving it a relatively more comfortable grip. The phone is also lighter and slimmer, measuring only 7.7 millimeters and weighing in at 187 grams. Meanwhile, the Galaxy A55 features Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, not just for its display, but also for the glass back panel. Adding to that is the brushed aluminum flat frame, making it more premium to hold. However, it is a bit thicker and heftier at 8.2 millimeters and 213 grams. Perhaps one big advantage of the Galaxy A55 is its stronger build. While the Honor 200 doesn't have any ingress protection, the Galaxy A55 takes it up a notch with an IP67 rating for dust and water resistance. This means it should withstand being immersed under fresh water for a short amount of time. So that's definitely a plus. Design may be subjective, but in this case, we're giving this round to the Samsung Galaxy A55 thanks to its significantly more durable build. Now, when it comes to the display department, they both have good panels, but with different executions. The Honor 200 sports a 6.7-inch Full HD Plus quad curved AMOLED display with a peak brightness of up to 4,000 nits. However, this is the so-called HDR peak brightness, take note of that, as it is only useful in watching HDR content. On the other hand, the Galaxy A55 has a 6.6-inch Full HD Plus Super AMOLED display with a peak brightness of 1000 nits. Both run at a smooth 120Hz refresh rate, but the Honor 200 appears to have a slightly higher display resolution at 2664 by 1200 pixels compared to the Galaxy A55's 2340 by 1080 pixels. Despite the subtle differences, expect both phones to deliver a good viewing experience, especially the Galaxy A55 thanks to its Dolby Atmos support for better audio immersion. Both handsets do have dual stereo speakers with a nice soundstage, which is more than acceptable to our ears. As for display protection, the Honor 200 uses an aluminosilicate glass, and the Galaxy A55 has the aforementioned Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. Aside from the curved display on the Honor 200, there aren't many advantages to see here. Some may prefer this type of display panel, but personally, the writer of this comparison prefers flat ones because it's less susceptible to glare from the sides. With that, it's a tie this round. Under the hood, the Honor 200 opts for a Snapdragon 7 Gen 3, a 4nm class chipset from Qualcomm with max clock speeds of up to 2.63 GHz. The Galaxy A55 equips an in-house chip, the Exynos 1480, also built on a 4nm process node and clocked a tad bit higher at 2.75 GHz. Performance-wise, they are both generally on par, except the Galaxy A55 may have a slightly better graphics processing power. For context, the Exynos 1480 utilizes an RDNA-based GPU from AMD called the Excalypse 530, said to offer improved graphics performance than the ARM-based GPUs in last year's Galaxy A54 by up to 53%. This sounds good on paper, and as you can see in our benchmark results, the Galaxy A55 achieved a higher score in 3D Mark Wildlife. For those who didn't know, 3D Mark is a benchmark that tests the graphics capability of a device. This figure suggests that the Galaxy A55 may have relatively better graphics processing than the Honor 200. For other tests, the results come close. In Antutu, the Honor 200 scored 830,000, which is 100,000 points higher than the Galaxy A55's 720,000 score. It's the same case for Geekbench as well. Numbers aside, you can expect similar above-average raw performance on both the Honor 200 and the Galaxy A55. As for configs, this is where the Honor 200 shines, as it packs 12GB of RAM and a whopping 512GB of internal storage. That's way better than the Galaxy A55 with only 8GB of RAM and 256GB of internal storage. Although, it compromises with support for expandable storage via a hybrid microSD card slot. While we appreciate the addition of storage expansion, it's a no-brainer that having 512GB of onboard storage out of the box for the same price is undeniably better. With that, the Honor 200 evens out the match. Now, onto their cameras. It appears the Honor 200 has the upper hand here. At the rear, it features a 50MP main shooter, another 50MP telephoto, both of which supports optical image stabilization, and a 12MP ultra-wide lens. The selfie camera is yet another 50MP sensor. In contrast, the Galaxy A55 sports a 50MP main camera with optical image stabilization, a 12MP ultra-wide, and a 5MP macro sensor at the rear. In front, it features a 32MP selfie camera. And it's pretty much what you would expect. Photos that come out of the Honor 200 generally look better than the Galaxy A55's. Aside from the better hardware, this is likely because of its AI enhancement feature being turned on by default. This basically uses AI algorithms to output well-balanced shots. Users also have the convenience of getting studio-level portraits thanks to some portrait modes in collaboration with Studio Harcourt, a popular French photography studio. The Galaxy A55 isn't that bad, but assuming that its camera setup might just be a carryover from last year's A54, this model has gotten slight improvements in post-processing. For videos, both phones can record up to 4K resolution at 30 frames per second. Like I said earlier, they both have optical image stabilization that helps reduce shaky footage. With better hardware and additional photography features, the Honor 200 definitely owned the camera department. Battery-wise, the Honor 200 again has the advantage. While it does get a higher 5,200 mAh battery capacity, what's special about it is it's not lithium-ion, it's a silicon-carbon battery. In simple terms, this technology is said to contain more power in a given space. That explains the phone's thinner profile despite having a larger battery capacity. On the other hand, the Galaxy A55 packs the usual 5,000 mAh lithium-ion battery, and in our PC Mark battery test, the Galaxy A55 surprisingly lasted a bit longer at 13 hours and 12 minutes as compared to the Honor 200's 12 hours and 55 minutes of battery life. It is a different story in our Yugatech video loop test, whereas the Honor 200 was able to last a good 27 hours and 17 minutes. That additional 200 mAh capacity seemed to pay off well, while the Galaxy A55 wasn't too far behind at 22 hours and 46 minutes of uptime. Charging is another advantage for the Honor 200 thanks to its fast 100-watt wired charging. The Galaxy A55's supported charging rate is a bit underwhelming at 25 watts. This gives the Honor 200 a 2-point lead in this matchup. On the software side, both phones run Android 14 out of the box. The Honor 200 is skimmed with Magic OS 8 and the Galaxy A55 with One UI 6.1 on top. Software experience is another subjective topic, but for me, One UI feels better to use. Honor's Magic OS is decent, but it still has remnant design cues of EMUI here and there. What secures this round for the Galaxy A55 is its longer software support. Samsung promises up to 4 major OS upgrades and 5 years of security patches. That's a year longer than the Honor 200 with 3 major OS upgrades and 4 years of security patches. For connectivity, both have the essentials here: 5G, NFC, and eSIM support. Both phones also feature an optical in-display fingerprint sensor for biometric security options. Lastly, the Honor 200 adds an infrared sensor up top, which means you can use the Honor 200 as a universal remote for your smart home appliances and whatever remotes that utilize an infrared blaster should work. While that may be useful for some, longer software support holds more weight for us. Now, with everything said and done, we gotta answer the question, which one is the better pick? While both phones offer solid performance and impressive features, the Honor 200 consistently outshines the Galaxy A55 in key areas. Its superior camera system, longer battery life with faster charging, and a bigger 512GB storage make it a compelling choice in the sub 25,000 peso price range. If camera quality, battery life, and performance are your top priorities, the Honor 200 5G is the clear winner in this comparison, priced at 24,999 pesos. For relatively the same price at 24,990 pesos, the Samsung Galaxy A55 5G isn't without its merits, boasting a more durable build, potentially better graphics performance, and longer software support. Ultimately, the choice is yours. Are you Team Honor or Team Galaxy in this comparison? Which one would you pick and why? Let us know in the comment section. Now, if you enjoyed this video or found it informative, educational, or fun, be sure to smack that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit that bell icon so you get notified of our future uploads. Be sure to visit yugatech.com and follow us on all our social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok for the latest tech news and reviews. Once again, this has been Miguel, and I'll see ya in the next one.